The story is told that playwright George Bernard Shaw disliked Winston Churchill. So he sent him an invitation to the opening night of his new play with this note: "I'm enclosing 2 tickets to the first night of my new play. Bring a friend if you have one." Well, Churchill replied with this note: "Cannot possibly attend first night. Will attend second if there is one." Well, now, isn't that much more elegant than the nasty barbs and prickly insults that have become the common fare of political antagonists? During President Obama's recent address to a joint session of Congress, Congressman Joe Wilson shouted, "You lie!" Well, a big deal was made of that, even though a year or so ago, during one of George Bush's State of the Union messages, several of the Democrats booed him and had no criticisms for their boorish behavior. I remember several years ago, all the political talking heads were discussing former President Jimmy Carter's remark about George Bush that, as far as a nation around the world, this administration has been the worst in history, breaking with the long tradition of ex-presidents not to make comments about existing presidents. Well, if I were President Bush, I would have come back with some really sharp barbs reminding Jimmy Carter of the extremely lengthy hostage crisis that was the hallmark of his administration. Then I would go on to remind him about the long lines of gasoline with a couple of other reasons why he lost his re-election bid to an actor. But that's why I'm not the president. President Bush did to Jimmy Carter just as he has always to his critics. He took the high road. He quietly and respectfully brushed off the insult, even as Carter tried to roll back on some of his comments. President Bush said in a calm voice that Carter's criticism was, quote, "just part of what happens when you're president." By the way, President Obama has been equally magnanimous to accept Congressman Joe Wilson's apology for his "you lie" comment. Now, the lesson for us in these brief exchanges is simple. Ignore insults. Now, I'll be the first to admit that it's not easy to ignore insults. I mean, we take things personally. Words can cause deep scars. My mother was the one who taught me, "Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words can never harm me." Well, that's not the only thing my mother was wrong about. Nasty, insulting words do harm us, especially when they're spoken by people we respect and love. I kind of like the advice given by personal development guru Stephen Pavlina. He says this, quote, "If someone offers you a gift and you decline to accept it, the other person still owns that gift. The same is true of insults and verbal attacks." Do you get it? If someone insults you and you don't respond to it, then the insulter is left owning his own nasty remarks. So, if others are saying nasty things about you, take the high road. Ignore their insults, and then the stink of their foul words will be all over them. And you? Why, you'll be smelling like a rose. This is Ron Ross, the Mile High Motivator, coming to you from my home office in Denver, Colorado. I'll see you next time for the next edition of Motivation Moment.